Hey there, how's it going? What is up, everybody? Irish Orangutan is back to pass along what you need to know to get better at Madden and grow your Mutt team. Enjoy the show. Today, we are back to talk about physical chemistries and putting those on cards. Just talked through some of the basics of training using regular chemistries and kind of how you can activate those superstar abilities and X Factor abilities. Again, you can only have three of those on offense and defense, and I have now put one on special teams as well, and that has been a huge help with just having that focused kicker. So, just some things to think about in that regard, but just focusing back in on physical chemistries, we can open up Lawrence Taylor and look at his upgrades. These chemistries, going past the team, the just regular chemistry, you get over to this physical chemistry. This is something that is a little bit more expensive and something you have to have on 3 cards, and then 10, and then 20, and then 30. So, excuse me. Getting started, it is a little bit easier than it has been in the past, but using 800 or yeah 800 trading on 10 different cards gets up to 8,000, and then times that by close to 40, and what are you looking at, 32,000? So yeah, that is or maybe 320,000, excuse me, coins to put this on just 10 cards, and then times that times 3 to get it on 30, looking a little bit under 1,960,000 coins to add this to one of your cards. And as we get into these, I'll just explain why you potentially would want these, why you would want to kind of stay away from them, and potentially just what you would want to do with them at what point in time. Really, for no money spent teams, I really would stay away from these, if not all year, definitely right now. If you're a super advanced team, just want to add a little bit of sprinter to your team to get that over the top speed. I do understand that. But this is something that will be less needed than it has been in previous years. We have looked at theme teams and other chemistries and how those haven't really maxed out your players, giving them the +3s. You only get the +2s this year, as you see with the speed and acceleration. But with the physical chemistries this year, I think they're just kind of looking at it as you're focusing on this in the weight room. You're probably going to lose out on some other things. So what they've done is actually taken away strength and agility. Um, and you'll lose 2 of those once you get them all the way up to 30. So that is something that is a huge negative. And once you get them all the way up to 30, that is just getting you that 1+ speed and losing a strength and an agility. So I think you're starting to understand why, as a no money spent player, you would probably want to stay away from this. If you have a maxed out team, don't worry about the agility on certain players. It could be something that you would want to think of if you just have certain players that are running straight line and post and things like that. But agility can help with some of that route running things, and especially on defense. And then you would kind of have to hide those other players potentially in the line. But something else that has changed up this year is you are able to get some of these different abilities in different spots. As you can see with the shaker, you get a +1 speed. I mean, you're losing jumping and strength, so things that aren't nearly as bad to lose, and you do get that speed as well, but then you get agility, acceleration. So just there are negatives with each of these, so that is something to know fully when you are going into them. Like with Leaper here, you just get lots of pluses across the board, and then just the -1 agility. So if you are someone who likes to throw a lot of high points and just needs those pluses in certain areas, that can really help out. But really, if you're not maxing things out for particular reasons, it really could be a bad idea to go and put these on your team. And if you're just focusing on those one things and you're spending a million coins on it to just get those +1s or +2s to meet thresholds, it's really a bad choice to do that at this point in the game when you're probably going to be changing up your team quite a bit. And also, a million coins means a lot more now than it will further down the road. And training costs going down further, it'll just make more sense as you get further on in the year. What's up, Blas? How's it going? Um, have you been able to work on your team since I talked with you last? Do you have to work on weekends, or do you get pretty much those off now? But looking down onto Brawler, it gets the +1 strength, +1 speed, and that goes all the way down, but that does lose 1 strength, excuse me, 1 agility and 1 acceleration. So that's not a terrible choice either, especially if you're wanting to focus on your defensive line and potentially some wide receivers. They can potentially block a little bit better with that strength as well. And then Acrobat just makes you a little bit more agile on your feet, I guess, but you lose a little bit of strength and acceleration. So there aren't really any of these that are necessarily better than the others, because with the Sprinter you lose the agility, which can be very important on defense, less so on offense because you kind of know where you're going. So if you have the speed and acceleration, you can get there, but with agility, you need to potentially recover. So that is why you would potentially need that more there. So just think of that a little bit when you are focusing in on what you are going to decide on. I'm not going to be adding any of these at this point. There are a few of these that do look pretty good. The Brawler looks pretty solid. Just losing 1 acceleration and 1 agility, and then you get the strength and the speed. I think that could be a huge plus. Strength would just have to be used in certain situations, but really you'd be filling out those gaps with those linemen that you potentially have powered up. So that would be a huge thing to consider with that. I do apologize. I did not note this earlier on. I did have this written down right up at the top, but you can only add these 2 power-ups, these physical chemistries, so that would be the main reason to get power-ups, so that does increase their value. So just something to consider. Again, power-ups are very important when you are trying to reach certain thresholds, or like myself, trying to fill out a theme team, which I'm very happy that Washington is to 80 overall at this point. But with these physical chemistries and this being in that last slot there, just something at this point in time I'm probably not going to invest in. I have a lot of training in my binder depending on what time of the day it is, but just something that I'm not going to move over at this point in time. There are probably 3 players that I could add this specifically to, so that might be something that I would look at, but going to 10, 20, or 30 is something I would definitely stay away from, not only for no money spent players, probably for middle to lower upper echelon players as well, unless you have spent a whole bunch of money on this game and don't really care because you have all the coins and training that you potentially would want. Then I would probably go out and look at one of these and potentially do Brawler at this point in time, because I think that would be the most beneficial, because that speed is really wanting in a lot of players. But that is what we have for today. I wish you all the best, and if you have something on your team that you have been using and you think it has been beneficial, definitely let us know. They are more or less attributes, so I don't know how they would stand out specifically, but that is what we have. It won't bring you like an X Factor ability or anything like that. These are very, very powerful. Have been working through building a spreadsheet based on what Gridiron Notes has put out with the offensive line abilities. I am going to decide to wait on creating that video just for a little while longer. Gut Fox does a really good job did a really good job of ranking those. So if you need those ranked right away, I don't think that's something that I'm going to be doing at any point this year. So if you do need to have those ranked at this point in time, it could really help you out in figuring that out. So definitely go check that out as soon as you possibly can. But I will be just kind of going through what each of the abilities does do, and if I have any of them on my team that I have tried out, I'll definitely give you some recommendations. But I do not have the coin stack to try every single one of those out at this point in time. But I will be going through the offense and then defense. Actually, might switch that around and do defense first because I could probably get through that unless they add a few more abilities, and then we'll be going through defense. I will have the spreadsheet that I do have so far. I just went through and changed the ones that were in red to a different color to kind of make those abilities that are listed on the spreadsheet stand out a little bit more at this point in time because they can be very helpful to your team, especially when those 7 players could be the best players on your team. But that's what we have for today. I wish you all the best and take care. Thank you for checking into the Irish Orangutan channel. Keep coming back for more Madden knowledge. There will be consistent videos up every week, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to see them all. Come by Twitch to engage and hit me up on Twitter at Irish Orangutan. Take care and much love, everybody.